Hello class, we are going to be doing a famous photographer unit. So this is going to be a 4-part assignment. So you can see down here on the bottom, part number 1 is going to be a famous photographer write-up. Number 2 is going to be 4 photos that you recreate from that photographer. Number 3 is going to be a photographer critique, where you're critiquing their photos. And then part 4 is going to be a zine that we do when we get back to class. Everyone will create this on Photoshop, and then we will kind of share this with everybody in class, so everyone will be learning about the famous photographer that you chose. So let's talk about your learning objective. You can read through this. The main bullet point ideas is that you are going to showcase a famous photographer. You're going to tell us all about their personal vision and expression. I don't necessarily want this to be a biography paper about the artist. I really want you guys to show me that you've spent time looking at their work. I'm more interested in your ideas than facts. So tell me what your thoughts and feelings are, what you kind of gained from this photographer, not just the day they were born. Okay, so with this, you can kind of look over the questions. Here are all of them listed out. So we are going to just briefly go over these, and then you guys will do a little worksheet answering these questions. So first, tell me the photographer name. Okay, tell me, how did the photographer's style, techniques, and content change over time? What do the works tell us about their ideas, opinions, values, or feelings? Do the work of art give us any insight into human nature or natural beauty? Does the photographer manipulate our perception? If so, how? Has the photographer's work made any contributions to the advancement of photography? This might be a little bit tricky if you choose a new photographer or a current working day photographer. What can you learn from their work? Do themes or emotions in their work appear also in your work? Any inspiring stories or quotes that are meaningful to you, or why? Include your own personal views, feelings, or understanding of this photographer, and then include any other information about them that you feel like is important to the general understanding of this photographer. So how you're going to answer these is on Canvas. I have a Google Docs. You will click on that. It will automatically ask you to make a copy. You'll just type in all of your answers on here. Then you will go to File, Download, and then you'll say PDF, and then you will submit that into Canvas. So that is all about part 1. Part 2 is going to be recreating photos. So you are going to kind of look through all of their photos. You're just in your research, you can start tagging ones that you actually like. So with the photo recreation, you are going to try to get the exact same angle, same lighting, a similar background, and try to have kind of similar style clothing, things like that. Okay, you can make their similar clothing out of just like fabric, clothes, objects you have in your house. So they don't necessarily need to be the exact same object, but they should look very similar to this, and I will show you guys a bunch of student examples. Okay, but try to think of what's going on with their lighting, the props, the hair, the angles, the expression on their face. Okay, you're trying to do all of this super exact. This can all be in black and white so that color does not matter, and you can just edit this on your phone or your Chromebook. Okay, if you are having a lot of challenges editing at home, you can just try your best to get it as exact as you possibly can, and then when we come back to school, you can re-edit these and resubmit these. So keep that in mind. Try to do it so that it is just black and white, so you're not worrying about the tones or the color as much as just a recreation. Try to get it all right. Okay. If you also need to do this when you come back to school, you can Photoshop things in, but try your best to get it right the first time when you're actually taking the photos. Here is a list of different photographers. So I'm not going to go through all these, but you guys can look through all of them. And if you have an idea for a famous photographer that you already know and love, okay, you can do them as well. Just make sure that they are school appropriate. So I've listed a few as if you are into landscape or nature. I've done some of those. Okay, street and documentary photography, I've listed some of those. Identity and portraiture, and then more creative and conceptual. So I've listed those all out. You can read through those and decide who you'd like to do. So here are a few more examples as well, so you can kind of look through them. I'm not going to go through them one by one, but you can look through this slideshow and see some fun photos that would be a great for you to recreate. Okay, I'm going to mainly show you guys the ones that students have recreated, and you guys can kind of go from there. But again, on your own, you can look through these and kind of study these. So James Franco did some really fun Cindy Sherman ones that are actually super fun and pretty good that you guys can kind of look at. So this is James Franco, okay, an actor, and then here's the original. Okay, here's Dorothea Lange, there's the original, there's the recreation. Okay, here's some more of those James Franco, Cindy Sherman ones. Okay, here's a student example. So they just went in and they photoshopped this afterwards, and they took a whole bunch of pictures from here. Okay, here's another student example. Another student example. So some of these are a little bit more complex. Some of them are a little bit more simple. Another student example, so you can see they're at their kitchen table. They made their siblings help pose. Okay, here's another one. They used some Photoshop to kind of get the photo just right. Here is another example. So some have a more complex background. Some just had a plain black or white background. Another example. Another example. Okay, so as you're working on this, you can kind of see what speaks to you. It's really fun to choose an artist that you actually really enjoy and that you really love. Okay, and you can just see how other students have recreated these photos. Okay, and a few more examples for you. So these should be super, super close to the original photo, similar lighting, similar props. So have fun with it and try your best. Okay, this we are going to talk more about once you go back at school, and that will be the design section. But go ahead and kind of focus in on your first two parts, and then we will have a whole separate video for how to critique, and you can watch from there. So make sure you double check on Canvas all of the different dates and when everything is kind of due, but now you should be able to get started on your write-up, and then for the next class period, your photo recreation.